All right, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram are supposed to lower their MSRPs by 30% starting next year. This is not something I've heard. Is this accurate?
This is something I have heard. I have
Okay.
heard up to 35%. And whether or not that happens, we'll see. But I wouldn't be, I mean, listen, we all know that there's no manufacturer out there that has raised their MSRPs more over the last 5 years than Stellantis. And it's over 50% for Stellantis. Their Jeep brand was 61%. And one of the things that has happened since they've done that is, well, their sales have tanked. So somebody at Stellantis, now that Carlos Tavares is gone, has to say, well, I'm thinking there must have been a correlation between the two. Doesn't take a genius to figure it out. We kept raising the prices and we kept watching sales go down. Maybe we need to lower the prices and sales will go up. So, yeah, I've heard that they're going to reduce the prices upwards of 35%. We will see what happens.
Like, if this was true, this would be huge news. And I just typed into Google Jeep to lower MSRP.
Yes.
And there's a bunch of articles saying that they'll lower prices, but like that would be a huge headline. So I don't know.
I have heard from people that I know, that you might not realize, that have heard from people
from their second cousin, Bobby. Yeah. Bobby was saying this out by the bush.
Listen, I'm not gonna mention any names, but I have heard from people that I'm familiar with and friendly with, that have heard from people higher up at Stellantis that that's what their plans are. Now, have they made it public yet? Well, apparently to the one person I know and the TK. That's it. They're the only people that know. Maybe some dealers know or have gotten some inklings. But think about this for a second. If they do indeed lower their MSRPs 30 to 35%, what does that do to the value of their used cars? Does that not tank the value of their used cars?
I mean, think about the negative equity that's already going on right now. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, wouldn't that tank used car values of their brands? So as a consumer who doesn't own one, you might be thinking, yay, maybe now I can afford that Dodge Ram or that Ram pickup truck or the Jeep Rubicon, whatever it is. As somebody that already owns one of those, I got to be going, oh my God, I thought I was upside down before. I'm probably on life support now. So there's
this rumor you heard from Uncle Bobby over Thanksgiving, was it across the board that they were going to be doing this?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So like a $50,000 Ram truck would be lowered to $35,000.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean they're talking about, maybe
that would work. I think that would work.
Well,
that would do it.
People would listen. You can't have you can't have raised your prices what you've raised them and watch your sales drop, and not realize that the reason your sales dropped is because your prices got too damn high. Well, there's only one way to fix that. Okay, and that's to make your prices lower again, so that people go, "That's the value brand I remember. That's why I always bought one of these in the past." Because it was a great value, not an overpriced value. So, yes, that's what
I would love to see that, because I think that would push down prices all across the market. If they were putting out $35,000 Ram 1500s, if they were releasing, they would have Gladiators. They would be high 20s at that point. I mean, you would have Jeep Grand Cherokees that were
priced right. You would have Jeeps and everything else that were priced where they should have been priced, where they should be priced, where if they kept them priced there, they would have never lost 15% of their market or had their sales drop as much as they've dropped. This was this was pure hubris on Carlos Tavares's part to think that they could just continue to raise the prices and their customers would come along. And as their customers kept proving to them that we're not coming along, they kept raising their prices more and more. So that was just hubris on the big executives' part. And now the people that are running it are going, yeah, that was a failed experiment. We know what to do. Bring the prices back to where people will buy them.
Yeah, I really wish we would have a manufacturer come in and do it. I hope this is all true, because even the worst of the worst right now, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram, even if they come in here and do that, it's going to push it's going to force a lot of these other manufacturers to start pushing down their prices. That would be great. I hope I'm rooting for them to do that.
Yes.
All right. Have you heard about GM partnering with Hyundai? I have not heard of this.
I have not heard of that either, although many manufacturers have small partnerships when it comes to developing some things. I mean, Honda had a partnership with the GM for a while. I mean, that's the Honda Prologue. Well, that's the GM battery system that they're using for their electric vehicle, because that was a joint partnership with GM. So is there some type of Hyundai GM partnership? I wouldn't be surprised. Are they collaborating on something? That wouldn't surprise me. Would it be around hybrids or EVs? Probably would be my guess.
Do you remember the Toyota that Pontiac basically not took from them, but they partnered with Toyota to have one of these? It's the Pontiac Vibe.
Oh, I remember the Vibe. Yeah,
it's the same thing as a Toyota Matrix, I think.
Matrix, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So manufacturers do this kind of stuff all the time, like what Ray was talking about, where there'll be one car that's manufactured. In this case, it was a Toyota Matrix, and Pontiac just slapped his badge on it, and it's a partnership. But really, Pontiac just buying all these matrices from Toyota, and then just putting their badge on it.
What about when there was Suzuki and the GM had the Metro?
Yeah,
the same vehicle. Yeah, the Suzuki Sidekick and the Metro. They were the same vehicle.
Yeah, there's been tons of
the first SUV that Acura had was the Acura SLX, which was a collaboration with the Isuzu, and it was a gussied up Isuzu Trooper.
Oh, it looks just like it too.
Yeah, it was, and those of us who had to sell them, we just said it was the Acura sled, because nobody would buy one. It was an albatross. It was a boat anchor. Because for several $1,000s less, you could go buy the Isuzu Trooper. So yeah, this type of stuff's been going on forever. So is there some type of partnership between GM and Hyundai? I'd be surprised if there wasn't.
Yeah, remember the Geo Metro? Yeah. that was a Cavalier, right?
The Metro was a
I think it was a Chevy Cavalier.
It might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the Suzuki Sidekick. Or was it the Sidekick, which was the original Metro, the little SUV version of it.
All right, here's a question for me. Why do you never go to any Mazda dealers? So the dealers that I choose to go to are typically ones that are just easy to film at. So if Mazda had some big news that came out, some kind of, obviously in our niche, the news that gets clicked on is the more negative stuff, right? So that's why I'm always at a Jeep dealership. That's why I'm lately I've been at a bunch of Toyota dealerships, always at a Ford dealership. Honda had some issues with some motors a couple months ago. Went to a Honda dealership, but all those dealerships were very easy for me to film at. But the Mazda dealerships that are local to me, at least the 2 or 3 that I've checked that are the closest, they're very small, and I don't like to typically film at very, very small dealerships. One, because I'm not going to be able to avoid their customers, their salespeople, and whereas I'm not worried necessarily about avoiding salespeople. Salespeople come up to me all the time. A lot of times they know me, and I'll tell them exactly why I'm there, and why I'm there, and they'll tell me how their dealership's doing. They'll talk to me. I like getting boots on the ground information from them. It's really good information for me to have, and I can tell you when I go onto these dealerships and salespeople come up to me and start talking to me. And once they know I'm there and I'm just shooting a video about the car market, they tell me everything. They will trash the crap out of the dealership that they're working for. They will trash the brand that they're working for. They'll say, okay, this is exactly what they're doing wrong, and they always know how to fix it, and they'll tell me how to fix it. Anyway, raise back. Where was I going with this? Oh, but the Mazda dealerships, they're small, and I don't want to get into a place where I'm walking around with a camera and there's a bunch of customers that are getting in the shot. I just do it so I don't get a lot of people in my videos. I know that before I started doing YouTube, I would not be okay with someone just being kind of in the background if I'm just shopping around for a car. So I try my best not to do that. And I've talked to that. So that's with small dealers. Another thing that I've gotten questions about is why don't I go and like expose like used car dealers that are being shady or whatever. Most of the time when I'm going to these dealerships, I'm talking about a brand. I'm not talking about the actual dealership. Like the dealerships are just, I mean, they're middlemen. They're in a lot of cases they're doing things I don't agree with. But I mean, they have employees, they have owners, and a lot of them are I mean, they have 2 or 3 dealerships or whatever. But like used car dealers are even smaller. So there's going to be one owner and there's going to be 3 or 4 employees there. And I'm not trying to blow up businesses. That's not what I'm trying to do. I mean, I'll talk about stuff like in a sense where me and Ray are talking right here. I'll talk about all the bad things that I see at car dealerships, and I'll talk about all the bad things that I think you should avoid. But when I'm on these dealership lots, if there's a name that you can see in the background and I say something negative or show some crazy fee that some dealer is showing, I could get them 10,000 negative reviews overnight. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to do updates on the car market, show some prices at these dealerships, mostly MSRPs. If I see an egregious fee every once in a while, I'll show it. I'll tell you why you shouldn't pay it or whatever. But I'm not trying to harm any dealerships. I'm not trying to blow up the Google reviews on any of these dealerships. That's not what I'm trying to do. So just back to this question, why I don't go to any Mazda dealerships. I've shown one before, there's not really any big Mazda dealerships around me. I don't know if there are any like really big volume Mazda dealers. Are they big enough to have?
There's
yeah,
some.
I don't think there's many out there.
No, there's not a lot that are really big, but there's some.
All right, let's go to this. Jonathan, here's my question. How long will it take Honda to regret getting involved with Nissan's CVT transmission? So for those of you that don't know, I think this morning it even broke that they are going to absolutely do this merger now with Honda and Nissan. They're going to be traded under another shell kind of company, and they're going to now be the third largest is it a brand auto group? I don't know what you even say, but the third largest that's in the world. But do you think Honda is going to they're going to regret this? I think so. All right, yeah, that's my short. Yes, they will regret.
Well, I first of all, I don't think they're going to regret the fact that they're involved with Nissan because of the CVT transmissions. It is going to take 20 months for this to happen. The timeline for this to happen, for this merger to happen, if it happens, and one of the things that's required for it to happen is each company has to take care of their own business and get their house in order before this merger can move forward. That's putting all the pressure on Nissan. It's not putting the pressure on Honda. Honda is going to be the one calling the shots if there is a merger. And yes, they'll form a company that oversees it. And that's
The
also
word I was looking for was automaker, the number
that's
3 largest
well,
automaker.
that is a you words are hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but this whole thing isn't going to happen until August of 2026. And if Honda is going to be the one calling the shots, I'm pretty sure the CVT transmissions won't be a problem by that time. That's just my guess. Now, if you said to me, do you think this will be successful? I have seen in my lifetime many, many mergers in many different industries of where two big companies get together and the word that you hear is synergy and how they're going to save money and how the synergy is going to work and how it's going to be a wonderful thing until it's not. And usually the until it's not is only 2 or 3 years down the road.
All right, new channel right here. So if you haven't already, please like, subscribe. It's free for you, and it really helps us out.
I think I mentioned on Car Edge earlier today. How many marriages has Chrysler had?
All of them.
Yeah, probably more than Elizabeth Taylor had. And every one of Chrysler's marriages that was going to provide the synergies needed to make a really great company, every one of those marriages has ended in divorce. So you see it all the time, where corporations get together and they think it's going to turn into something special and it's going to turn into a juggernaut, and it turns into a massive failure. Well, we shall see what happens.
Yeah, and isn't Mitsubishi wrapped into that in some way too?
Mitsubishi has to decide by sometime in January as to whether or not they want to be part of it.
Well, there you go. That'll make everything better. Let's throw 2 turds in with a good automaker, and then we'll see what comes out the other side.
It'll be a polished turd.
All right, let's see here. I'm not reading these before I pull them up. So
Okay.
if we pull up a question that I should not be asking us, then it's my wife's fault.
Yeah.
All right. Isaac is asking, is it worth buying a Nissan Frontier with the merger happening? Should parts and logistics be a concern?
No, this should not be a concern.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that whatsoever. I've got my buddy who is a Nissan franchise manager. He's going about business as usual. He has said that because he's in a lot of he's in a dealer group too, where he talks to other franchise managers. He has said that some Nissan dealers and some Stellantis dealers, until some of this passes over the really rough times coming from the manufacturer, that maybe a lot of these dealerships become glorified used car dealers that just have the ability to sell new Nissans or have the ability to sell new Ram trucks, but where they're going to make a lot of their margin, where they're going to stay afloat right now, is going to be their used car inventory. So with all saying that, though, service is going to keep on ripping. It's going to be absolutely fine. I wouldn't worry about that at all. If you like the Nissan Frontier, you can get a really good deal on one right now. Yeah. Really good deal. But,
yeah, I wouldn't be concerned about it at all. I mean, the hopes and dreams for Honda and Nissan is that, by August of 2026, they're working under a new name, an umbrella company. They're probably 5 years away from producing anything collaboratively that is going to matter. It won't be till 2028, 2029, 2030, perhaps, that we're going to start seeing the fruits of this merger if it does indeed happen. So, you got nothing. I mean, if they merge, it's only going to help Nissan eventually, and even if they don't merge, Nissan will be around for quite some time. Somebody else will invest in them or buy them, and parts will still be available. Everything will be available.
All right, Brandon, do you like turbo fours or naturally aspirated sixes? So, in my opinion, I would rather have a truck without a turbo in it. It's just there's more stuff to go wrong in it. Turbos, in my experience, are a pain in the butt. I know I've dealt with a lot of like Volvo turbos. I had a Mazda CX-5 that we had a turbo, and it just seems like in every one of those things, like if they're not leaking, that means there's no oil going through it. So I don't. We've had lots of trouble. I just don't want more things on my car that I have to deal with. Yeah, I mean the turbos they're nice, and they have, I mean, they give you that extra boost, and you can do it with less gas mileage. But I want that V6, I want that V8. That's just there, and I can hear it, and it's nice. And I would rather have a truck, especially like you looking at a Tundra, looking at now all these problems with the 6 cylinders with the turbos. I don't want that. I want the big V8, the one that's reliable, and I want less things to go wrong in the truck later on. That's what I want. What's your opinion, Ray?
I've been driving minis for years that are turbos. So, if you said to me, can somebody produce a 4-cylinder engine and a turbo that works well? I would say it apparently it appears to be in many cases. Do I understand why people might prefer a naturally aspirated engine? Yes, I do. Obviously there's always some form of turbo lag when you have a turbo. But there are ways of producing 4 cylinders and 6-cylinder engines with turbos where they can produce the torque and the power that's needed, and still give you good fuel economy. Everything in life is a trade-off. So, I'm okay with a 4-cylinder turbo. I'm perfectly fine with that. It works for me. But then again, I don't push a vehicle that I drive. I don't push it hard, so it doesn't matter. If you liked what you saw today, do us a favor right here at CarSense. Like and subscribe. We're new. We're growing. You can't do without us.